Hello, everybody. I know it's been such a long time since I've done a podcast, but towards the end of those last episodes that I filmed, I genuinely was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I started feeling like I wasn't even doing the podcast like for fun anymore. Like, it was genuinely like I was trying to be formulaic with it. I was trying to like be speedy and like post every week, and like that was the most important thing about it. And like genuinely listening back to those podcasts, I'm like, those fucking sucked. Holy shit. It's also no coincidence that right before I stopped posting on this channel, I got diagnosed with a mood disorder, which blossomed into being diagnosed as bipolar and then being medicated for that. Like, being unmedicated trying to post a podcast every week, it was like turmoil, dude. It was like my 9/11. Like, every single time I would post, I would freak out. I'd be like, no one likes this, no one likes this. Like, it was so fucking annoying. Like, I know my ass was annoying. And not posting for a long time also had me like reflecting on how much I used to overshare on this show, like humiliatingly so, you know? Like, I deleted all of the old episodes off of Spotify because listening back to them, I was just so embarrassed. I was like, this cannot be online. I hate this. I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. So I'm sorry if anybody ever is like looking for the old school Junk Store episodes when I used to have my podcast partner Anuheya, which she's great. Love her, love them. But yeah, I got rid of those for my own sake. I was like, there shouldn't be a podcast episode out there where I'm like, yeah, like I finally got on like Tinder and like I was like having sex. Like that's so cringe. Like, just ew. The last thing anybody needs to hear about is me having sex, okay? I feel like I was only doing that stuff because I felt that I needed validation. For those of you who don't know, I'm insecure. You could probably tell just by looking at me, like, oh, that little guy looks fucking insecure. If I saw myself walking down the street, I'd be like, oh, she looks cool, but also she's probably kind of insecure. With that haircut? And so I felt like I needed to let people know, like, other people found me attractive. And I also felt like I needed to be, like, scandalous for the podcast, which is just so kind of dumb because I'm not a party animal or anything. I literally do not go outside. Like, there's so many days where I do not touch grass. I haven't touched grass in, like, 3 fucking days. I've been going crazy inside because I'm like trying to finish a YouTube video right now and I have like 2 sponsorship deadlines coming up. Fuck! I've been really struggling to finish the video I'm working on right now because it's about haunting Adeline and I fucking I hate this book so much. Like, there's not a book that I hate more than this. If this book has 0 haters, then I've died. If this book has -1 haters, then I am living as a ghost, hating it. It's so fucking disgusting, but I won't spoil all of my thoughts on this podcast. Y'all just gotta wait for the video, which will probably be out by the time this podcast comes out. Just stay on the lookout for that, but trigger warning really quick, just minor spoilers for the video, very minor. Just skip 5 seconds ahead if you don't want to hear this. So this book romanticizes rape. Like, what the fuck? It's actually so insane how much people like this book and actually regard it as a dark romance. Like, there ain't nothing romantic about it. Nothing at all. Like, not only is it so poorly written, like, I could literally write a better book with my left fucking butt cheek. And I've also been thinking a lot about writing a book recently, like, not to sound like so like full of shit and like head up my own ass, like tickling my own butthole. I do actually think I'm a decent writer, and I feel like I could make a pretty entertaining book at the very least. More well written than Haunting Adeline, you know? Reading these books has really like boosted my confidence in my skills as like an artist. But yeah, moving on. The straw that broke the camel's back for me to make this podcast today, to finally return to form, was that I have so many niche interests that I don't really get the opportunity to talk about to other people very often. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be like, Nikki, these interests aren't that niche, okay? These are very popular things. Like, okay, yes, they are pretty popular, but I don't know anybody that I could talk to these things about. And as far as I can see, like, people who are fans of these things are not people like me, if that makes sense. I do have ADHD, and I know that there's like a link between getting really, really obsessed with certain things for a couple months. Like, having that special interest is linked to like being on the spectrum. And so this does entirely make sense, but let me holler at you guys. Let me rant just a little bit and like let me try to make you care about these things. So the last few months, my obsessions have been as follows. One Piece. Got so obsessed with One Piece, like I couldn't even think about it without wanting to cry. Because for those of you who don't know, okay, I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to One Piece. People are like, oh, this is like a stupid anime about pirates and there's like 1,000 episodes of it. Like, why would I watch that, you know? And there's also a stigma to anything with pirates, okay? I personally have zero interest in pirates. I think pirates are stupid as fuck. I don't care about the Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't care about historical pirates with like Ganby or Gander. What is it? What is that disease that a bunch of pirates have? I don't fucking know. So I had every reason not to like this show is what I'm trying to tell you. And when I tell you it blew me out of the water, like I busted in my pants, like my pants got soiled from watching this show. It's probably one of the best shows of all time. And I'm not trying to sound like a fucking weeaboo. I had not watched anime for like many years before getting into One Piece. I was super into it in high school and then just kind of like grew out of it. Whatever you think is going on in One Piece, like whatever you think One Piece is about, you're probably wrong. So let's get this straight really quick. One Piece is about friendship, it is about found family, and it is about following your dreams, bitch. Follow your fucking dreams. Like, this show is genuinely so inspirational in that aspect of not giving up, of finding people who love you, even if they're not like your real family biologically. And there's also like a lot of queer influences in this show. Like, multiple queer characters are in this universe and not portrayed as like, you know, like these horrible, gross, like we're just making fun of them people. Like, for fuck's sake, the main character of this show is asexual. Like, canonically, like I don't give a fuck. There's some debate amongst like incels who watch One Piece of whether or not Monkey D. Luffy is asexual, but there's so much proof throughout the series that he is just not interested in women or men. He's only interested in making friends with people and helping others, which is one of the things that is just so effing wholesome about the show, is that these characters truly feel like real friends, and they also feel like your friends. Like, if you are a lonely person, okay, and I can be a lonely little like I can get really sad. So having those like, you know, friends was like, I think I was going through a hard time in my life when I was watching it. I mean, when am I not going through a hard time? I feel like I'm always like sad about something. But me and my boyfriend got into it together. And like, this is one of those times where our special interests have aligned, which is so fucking awesome. My boyfriend also has ADHD. So like, getting on that same wavelength is like on another fucking level, to just like geek out over something and obsess with it. Like, we would listen to the One Piece soundtrack, which by the way is fucking beautiful. Like, they did not need to go this hard for an anime soundtrack. There is songs in the show that will have you weeping, just weeping, like at an emotional climax, busting. But tangent aside, let me just tell you something that I love about this show is the portrayal of abuse and healing from said abuse and like relying on people that you love to help you through that situation. There's minor, like entirely tiny spoilers right now, and this anime arc is in the live action show. So if you've seen the live action One Piece, you already know that this happens. There's this character named Nami who is one of my favorite characters of all time. Like, she is such a good, well-written female character, especially for an anime. You're like, holy shit, I have never seen this before. Women always get the short end of the stick in anime, and like, One Piece is not perfect by any means. There can be super misogynistic jokes at times that do not fucking hit and are not fucking okay, but a lot of the times it's just pure wholesome, like pure like goodness. Like, don't let that discourage you from watching the show, because every single fucking show written by a man is inevitably gonna have some misogyny in it. We can kind of watch problematic episodes and shows and problematic films and, you know, still enjoy them, but also take away kind of a lesson from them and be like, okay, well, in the future, this is what I want to see, and this is what I want to advocate for from like the media that I want to watch. And sorry, this is like another whole kind of side tangent as well, but something that I kind of touched on in the age gap video that I made on Nikki Carrion was liking problematic things. And obviously this isn't applicable to everything, but I genuinely feel like shaming others about liking something that has some problematic things in it is like not the right route to take, because I feel like that just makes people like watch or listen to whatever it is like in private, and also like cultivate some strong feelings about like, ooh, so I'm not allowed to do this, I'm not allowed to do that. Like, I think that we should always be critical of the things that we like, and people liking things that have like a problematic element to it doesn't make them a bad person. And as long as they realize that, then I don't think it's a problem. Like I said, this doesn't apply to every single thing, okay? So don't be like, Nikki, what the fuck? Don't be like, it doesn't apply to everything, okay? But anyways, sorry, back to Nami really quick. Nami has this whole beautifully written backstory where her adoptive mother was murdered by these shark people that were taking over her island. And then the shark people basically created this like hierarchy where everybody is like being controlled by them, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm probably sounding really dumb right now. And so she wants to free her people on this island. She's not allowed to tell anybody about this, by the way, so everybody on the island just fucking hates her for this, but she joins them in an alliance and is like publicly their friend, like part of their group, like working for them. Everyone's like, what the fuck, Nami? How could you betray the island, betray your own people like this, you know? But in reality, she's working for these people and she's like slaving away, drawing them maps because she's a very talented artist, and by doing that she's earning money from them to free all these people, or at least that's what they've told her will happen. Like, if you draw us these maps, we're gonna pay you, we're gonna free your people. And so she's like handcuffed to a table all these years, from when she's a child to a teenager, drawing these things. They're using her talent while also simultaneously making her feel like she's dog shit, like she's a piece of shit, mistreating her but needing her. And her whole story is such a great allegory for an abusive relationship. Like, you know, like whatever relationship it is, you know, it could be like your parents, your family, just some sort of authoritative person, like even, you know, like your boyfriend, your girlfriend. The way that they steal her glory, or they try to, like, oh, look at what we've done. We've done all of this. We've traveled so many places because of these maps. Like, it's all because of us. And a little bit of spoiler too. Like, Luffy becomes friends with her. He finds her and he beats this guy's fucking ass. Like, beats him good. His name's Argyle, and he's like the main like villain in this scenario that's like controlling her. And there is such a good scene where Argyle is like, look at everything I've done. Look at everything I achieved and created for myself. And Luffy is like, you didn't do any of that. She did. And then it shows all of like her drawings and her maps, and it's just so beautiful. It's so cathartic, like, especially for me, because like, not to make it all about me, but like just to tie it into like my life. My ex-boyfriend used to use me to create all these videos and like Instagram posts and all of this stuff, while also making me feel like I'm a piece of shit. But then like using me to get like garner this like attention for himself. And to hear that was just so, it was so relieving. Like, I realized from watching fucking One Piece of all shows, I was like, that is all because of me. Like, everything that he achieved was because of me. And he was making it out to be like, I'm nothing. Like, I could never achieve anything on my own, when it was because of me that there was any success to begin with. Him forcing me to do all this shit that I didn't want to do garnered the attention that he wanted. Like, oh my God. Oh, but yeah, besides that, and there's so many great stories. Like, the storytelling in One Piece is so good. So many characters with just beautiful backstories, and I can't talk about that writing like enough and highly regard enough. But not even to mention the story building, like the world building. There's so many islands in One Piece and so many different places to like explore that have all this great like lore, and they all come from like a historical context too. Like, the creator of the show is just like such a goat, like, where he has studied history so much, and it really shows through the show. There's so many episodes where it's like so clearly like an allegory for oppression of, you know, like Native Americans. Like, there's a specific arc called Skypiea where it's just straight up like it is about Native Americans. Like, there's no other way to fucking put it. It's so beautiful. And it's just so good. And I haven't watched it in a few months because I watched like 400 episodes of it with my boyfriend. For those of you who don't know, this show is like 1,000 episodes long. I'm not joking. It is 1,000 episodes. It is. And it's still going. Like, they're still creating it. It's not over yet for like 3 more arcs, I think the creator said, which when One Piece ends, I will genuinely cry. I will cry really hard like a baby. But I guess that's not saying much because I cry from a lot of things. I feel like I'm a pretty emotional person, but I don't really see that as a bad thing. I think I'm really in touch with like what I like, media that I like. I love interpreting things. I'm a very like visual reader and visual music listener, so when I see like these beautiful things in my mind, I imagine them. I think my cat's trying to get into the bedroom. Oh my God, he's so annoying. He knows how to open the door, and it's just so annoying sometimes because he'll come in and just start like stepping all over things, trying to step on my tits, trying to open the window. He's like literally too smart for his own good. He's right here. Hi, Eno. Can you not step on this though, buddy? So cute. I love him so much. He's my most favorite cat that I've ever had. Don't do that. Hey! Don't do that! I'm sorry. Why don't you lay down right here? Lay down. Come, I'll make room for you. He's so cute. where was I going with this? Before I stop talking about One Piece, I kind of wanted to give you guys a guide just in case you wanted to check it out, because it is a crazy journey to take. Like, so many people just don't watch it because it is so long. They're like, I'm not reading all that, but congratulations, or I'm so sorry for you. This is how I watched it, and this is gonna sound so blasphemous to a lot of like One Piece stans, a lot of like people who are crazy about this, but you don't need to watch the filler episodes. There's so many filler episodes, and an easy way to just avoid them is to look up a filler guide, and it just tells you, you know, which ones are very important to watch and actually have all the important things that you need to know, the best storylines, yada yada yada. Because no offense, and like One Piece fans will probably come after me for saying this, but the filler for the most part is not good. Like, you don't need to watch it at all. Not necessary. I feel like that turns a lot of people off. So don't let the number of episodes stop you, because it's actually a lot less than you think. This is also going to sound so blasphemous, but I started watching One Piece at the arc that the live action show ends at, because the beginning of One Piece is very slow. Like, it is good, it's great, don't get me wrong, but it is super slow, and I think that makes a lot of people be like, ugh, well, how am I gonna watch this whole thing, you know what I mean? And so if you skip to that part where the live action series ends, it's already like popping. Like, it's such a good fucking show. From there on out, like, it's all gas, like gas. So fucking good. So that's my advice. Whoever's gonna get mad at me is gonna get mad at me. I don't give a fuck. Okay, moving on. We need to talk about Sufjan Stevens. I've been obsessed with him for probably the last 2 months now, and I was already a huge fan of his. I already loved him to pieces. I just hadn't explored his discography as much as I have now. And if you don't know who Sufjan Stevens is, you probably know him from his music, from the soundtrack of Call Me By Your Name, which, you know, I talked about in the age gap video, which, you know, it is a very problematic movie, but, you know, there is like good things about it, and like there is like good storytelling in it. You know, the problematic thing obviously is the age gap. I've already talked about that. So my point is, the music in Call Me By Your Name is absolutely gas. Like, it's so fucking good. Like, cooking, no fucking misses, no skips, all bangers. You probably know his song Mystery of Love from that movie, which is, oh, to see without my eyes. The first time that you kissed me, bound it like a bomb around in my round around. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna sing anymore of that, just to embarrass myself. You are doing yourself such a disservice if you don't listen to his other music. I'm so serious when I say he is one of the best living artists alive. Wow, that's kind of like a double. I just repeated myself. The best living artist alive. Like, he's one of the best. Like, he is truly a genius. I know it sounds like I'm hyping him up a lot. He is absolutely worth the hype. There is so much dynamic sounds in his music. He is so versatile as a musician. So talented and unique vocally, and don't even get me started on his lyricism. His lyrics it's just poetry. Beautiful poetry. And all of his songs are deeply personal. He truly tells you a lot of the story of his life throughout all of his albums. And it's so interesting to kind of piece all of it together when you listen to all of them and kind of understand him better, and also relate his life to your own too. And, you know, without speculating too much, like, obviously I don't know him, but it does feel like you know him from listening to his music. And I think a lot of people sleep on him, like absolutely sleep, because they don't know where to begin, or they're underestimating just how deep his music is, because it's fucking deep, okay? And just a little bit about him. So he's from Michigan. He grew up in Detroit and then I think moved to another section of Michigan when he got a little bit older. Just right off the bat, from learning that about him, it made me appreciate him more, because while I think a lot of, like, I listen to a lot of Nepo Babies music, it's very refreshing to hear somebody who had a bit of, like, struggle in their life. But even if he grew up in Beverly Hills with, like, super rich parents, like, I would still love his music. I just think, like, having the understanding of him that he truly was like a kind of just a normal guy, like living under like a kind of a normal financial situation is nice. It's nice to know. So another interesting thing about him, and this like comes out in his music a lot, is that his mother abandoned him and his siblings when he was pretty young, and he actually says that her leaving them was probably the best decision that she ever made, because he thinks that she just wasn't prepared to be a mom, and him growing up with his grandparents was just better for him, because she was very, mentally ill. She had a drinking problem. This is not to say she was like a horrible person or anything, but like not fit to be a parent. And there's so many songs where he talks about like loving her but resenting her, and just their complicated relationship. There's just a really beautiful album as well, probably one of the best indie folk albums of all time. It's called Carrie and Lowell, which there's not enough words to say how good this album is and how cathartic and just therapeutic it is to listen to as somebody who has had grief. Like, it doesn't even matter what the grief is about. Like, you can kind of connect that album to a lot of really sad experiences that you've had. But his personally was him talking about his mother passing away and the times that he grew up with his stepdad, who is Lowell, who was like a good person, but those memories going away, and still struggling with not having even gotten to know her as much as he would have liked before her passing away. And this album was actually like kind of my gateway drug into listening to the rest of Sufjan Stevens' discography. When you listen to Sufjan Stevens, like, first listen, you might not get it. You might be like, what's the big deal? But I swear to God, if you come back to it, even just after first listen, you might get it first listen. You might. But even if you don't, if you feel like, oh, I still don't get it, like, either A, like, read the lyrics as you listen, or B, just come back to it in a little bit. Because when I first heard a couple songs from Carrie and Lowell, I was just kind of like I thought they were good, but they didn't really hit me yet. And then I revisited it, and I still remember the day that I revisited it, seriously, because I started bawling my fucking eyes out. I was in such emotional pain listening to this album, and it was so surreal reading all these lyrics and realizing like just how much I related to this person and how much I felt like he understood me, even though we have never met each other, and maybe we never will. I hope I can meet him one day. But I drew so much connections between these lyrics and my own life, and it's also just like a very like visually stimulating album. You can truly feel that he is telling you a story, and that actually goes for a lot of his music, a lot. And before I go off even more about that album, because I could just praise it until the cows come home.
Number 12, cock.
I could just talk about it forever. Another interesting thing about him is that he's Christian, and like, boo, boo, Like, if that's the first thing that you hear about him, you're probably gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna listen to that. But this is actually something that is quite enjoyable about his music, is the way that he talks about his conflicting feelings about his faith. So I swear to God, don't touch that dial. Don't run away from this section. He's also gay. So there's that element to it as well. You know, like, I'm sure some of these lyrics pertaining to faith also are dealing with, you know, feeling ostracized a bit by that community who is kind of like notoriously homophobic. But this is like, I mean, I don't know exactly if he's like a leftist, but I've like watched and like read tons of interviews with him, and he's very, very liberal at the very least. You know, he talks about how much he loves to watch RuPaul's Drag Race. He talks about how Donald Trump is like stupid and like he looks like an old fart, blah 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 blah. So he's not like bigoted by any means, you know. The way that he speaks about his faith is not like shoved down your throat. He's not like Jesus, 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 Jesus. Like, he will talk about Jesus every like now and again, like just like straightforwardly, but it's never like holy shit, like this is just straight up like gospel music or like corny ass Christian music. Like, there's a lot of corny Christian music, like so bad, like y'all suck. Not all of y'all, but like there's like also like peace and love. Like, I totally respect everybody who has, you know, faith, like peace and love, as long as you're not using whatever your faith is to like, you know, be a bigot, be an asshole, then like more power to you. Like, that's really beautiful to be able to, you know, believe in something that's like bigger than yourself, and to like you know, find like comfort in that. Like, that's very wonderful. But yeah, so he will talk about his conflicting feelings and faith and yada yada yada. He also has this like really wonderful, oh my god, yes, this like every time I talk about him or think about him, I just want to cry. This beautiful song called "The Predatory Wasp of the Palisades is Out to Get Us." He has a lot of songs with like really long titles too. This is off of an album called Illinois, and I have so much good things to say about this album as well, but let's just talk about this song for now. This is a queer song, like through and through, and mind you, Sufjan did not come out as gay until very recently, due to, well, for a lot of personal reasons, I'm sure, but he shared this with everybody as part of grief, which we'll get into in a second, which is yet another fucking devastating part of his life that he shares with his fans. But the Predatory Wasp song, it's queer through and through. It is about him going to a like religious like summer camp when he's a kid, and falling in love with his best friend, and it is so fucking cute. It is such a good song and so sad. So there's a lot of interpretations you can take from this. So many. I personally interpret it as them kind of being in love with each other, yes, but having conflicting feelings about it, and kind of having like an unrequited love with this person, with this boy, because of the, you know, the conflict of interest. Like, obviously you're at like a religious summer camp, like it's not exactly like in high praise, and especially in the time that he grew up. I mean, he was like born in like 1970 something. Sufjan's pretty old. He's like almost 50 years old, which oh my god. Sometimes I just think about like, I think about like him passing away, and like I just like want to throw up. I want to like throw up because like his music is just so, it's just that important to me. But let me just read you a couple lines from this, and you'll probably even start like taking away your own thoughts about this song right away. Thinking outrageously, I write in cursive, I hide in my bed with the lights on the floor. Wearing 3 layers of coats and leg warmers, I see my own breath on the face of the door. Oh, I am not quite sleeping. Oh, I am fast in bed. There on the wall in the bedroom creeping, I see a wasp with her wings outstretched. So a lot of people interpret the wasp itself with her wings outstretched as like being a cross on the wall, like an indicator, a reminder possibly of like people who think being queer is wrong. And the wasp comes up a lot. Really quick, back to him not being out at the time this came out. There's actually a shit ton of gay lyrics in his music. Like, only if you're straight, I think you could be in denial that this man is not gay, which was a thing, by the way. Like, there was tons of fans that were like, no, he's not gay. Like, I'm so confident, like, he's not gay. Like, my brother in Christ, like, how do you explain this? Let me read you a lyric from the song that just straight up, like, this is gay as shit. There on his shoulder, my best friend is bit 7 times. He runs, washing his face in his hands. Oh, how I meant to tease him. Oh, how I meant no harm. Touching his back with my hand, I kiss him. I see the wasp on the length of my arm. Like, bro, he just straight up said he kissed a dude. Like, it's... What else do you need to hear? I don't understand how there was anybody in denial about this. But anyways, whatever. It's a through line throughout his music. There's tons of queer themes. He has an album called Illinois and an album called Michigan. And originally his intention with that was to make an album for all 50 states in America, which is just like the most bipolar thing I could possibly think of. Like, I always have these grandiose things. Like, 2 years ago, before I was unmedicated, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have 3 different YouTube channels, and like, I'm gonna post on all of them, and that's fucking impossible to do on a regular basis, but sure. He never ended up making more. But Illinois and Michigan are both very good, and they both have this like historical exploration of America, but at the same time, it's not glorifying America at all. It's actually raising a lot of questions about the ethics of America and criticizing it, but also speaking of like the wonders and beauty of, you know, traveling in your car and just driving to a new state, driving around and like learning about the culture, about different places. It's just so, it's so beautiful. And Illinois is like the more like grandiose version, and it's like a super long album, so I actually don't recommend starting out with that. And it is the one with like Palisades on it. It has some wonderful, beautiful songs. I just don't want anybody to like just start listening to it and get overwhelmed and be like, that was a lot. If you're gonna start with a state album, I would recommend Michigan, which is basically like the sad version of Illinois. And don't get me wrong, there's sad as fuck songs on Illinois. Holy shit. There's a song on Illinois called Casimir Polanski Day, and it's straight up about a young girl that he knew dying of cancer, and oh my god, it's like, it goes without saying, it's absolutely heartbreaking. And if there's one thing you can be confident about Sufjan Stevens to do, is to deliver you like the most raw fucking heartbreaking lyrics. Like, his music truly is for like sad gay people. Like, if you don't understand it, either A, maybe you're not sad enough, or B, maybe you're not gay enough. Okay, also, if you like Elliott Smith, like, he has a very Elliott Smith, like, adjacent album. Not saying it's exactly the same, but if you listen to it, you'll get what I mean. Like, it has the same vibe, and even, like, his vocals on this album are very kind of, like, similar, definitely, like, inspired. It's called Seven Swans. It's such a good album. It's so fucking... it's so underrated. And even as early as this, like, this is an album from 2004, and it already starts kind of talking about, you know, these conflicts that he feels in his mind, and some about his relationship with his mother and stuff like that. But it's not repetitive at all. It also talks about faith. I don't think there's a single Sufjan Stevens album that doesn't talk about faith in like an abstract way. He's always kind of dealing with that. Let's see, if you like really weird electronic music, he has a great album called The Age of Odds. I would recommend the song Age of Odds and I Walked, Too Much, All for Myself. there's a lot of great fucking songs on this. Just be prepared that it's not like Illinois, it's not like Michigan, it's definitely not like Carrie and Lowell. It's crazy and insane, and it sounds like robots. If you like the Flaming Lips, you will love Age of Odds, because it has totally the same electronic, we're doing this fighting robots vibe. And then to bring it back to the present, because I've been recording for a while now and I don't want to talk for too long. His most recent release is called Javelin. This album is dedicated to his late lover, and I'm not sure if he was married to him or they were, like boyfriends. But either way, they were together for 14 years. 14 years! 14 fucking years. And this album deals with that grief in such a, holy shit, it's such a beautiful album. Like, even from the first track, like, the first track is called Goodbye Evergreen. And just that title alone, like, think about that title. Evergreen. Green forever, healthy forever, living forever. But goodbye. Like, goodbye to something that is supposed to last forever. Ugh. Heart fucking. I want to cry just talking about it. Even the next song, on Javelin, it's called A Running Start. It's like this really cute love song, but it ends on such a sorrowful note. Like, sad but beautiful, nostalgic feeling of having that running start, but still ending in a tragic way, like the romance still ending in a horrible way. Like, Jesus Christ, that it's such a good album. Just bringing it back. Sorry, this is so all over. Oh my god, this is so. I feel like I have too much to say about him in general for it to all make sense, but bringing it back to Carrie and Lowell, because it is my favorite album of his, and it's one of my favorite albums of all time. From the very fucking first song on this, immediately just tears. Listen to this. I already want to cry. Just knowing what is coming, I think what is so tear-jerking to me about that is just knowing what's coming, knowing that the rest of the album is just gonna, like, destroy me and leave me wailing. Let's talk about this album about grief, about self-destruction. From these first lyrics, spirit of my silence, I can hear you, but I'm afraid to be near you, and I don't know where to begin. Spirit of my okay, so the way I interpret this is death, knowing that it is coming, that it is there, that we're all going to experience it. The spirit of my silence, I can hear you. Like, I can hear death calling me. I'm afraid to be near you, but I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to live my life right now, despite the fear of death. Another fucking amazing lyric later on in the song. I forgive you, mother, I can hear you, and I long to be near you, but every road leads to an end. Yes, every road leads to an end. Your apparition passes through me in the willows. 5 red hens, you'll never see us again. Fucking beautiful. Every single song on this album deserves analysis and deserves a lot of attention. And they're all sad in their own, like, unique way. But also, something I want to point out about Sufjan, though, is even though the music is really sad, tends to be sad, like, most of the time, there is always an element of hope. Always. Which I think is so magical, and there's always something so whimsical about his music, like, that he will carry on no matter what, and that is just beautiful. But the saddest song, in my opinion, on this album is called No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross, and which, even that name alone, like, first of all, my interpretation of him saying no shade in the shadow of the cross is like, there is no comfort, not even in, like, religion, you know, when it comes to grief a lot of the time. It can be just unrelenting sadness. There's nowhere to hide, not even behind the cross. And just listen to 10 seconds of this. I might get demonetized. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. It's kind of worth it. Now that I fell into your arms, my only lover, give out to give in, I search for the capsule I lost. So something really interesting about even just I search for the capsule I lost is that Sufjan, when he was making this album, he was on a real like destructive life like binge, and even in his the lyrics earlier that I was talking about, he said her apparition, like his mom's apparition, like is passing through him. And what he means by that is, and he's literally said this, is that he felt like he was almost possessed by her because he was making such careless, destructive decisions like the ones that she would make after she died. Like he was behaving, exhibiting the same behaviors. Something that he kind of touches on, and I don't know if this is fact or not, and I don't mean to speculate too much and like be rude, but it seems like he's also talking about taking painkillers as well. Like he talks about his supply running out. Drag me to hell in the valley of the Dells. Like my mother, give wings to a stone. It's only the shadow of a cross. Like my mother, give wings to a stone. A stone with wings. It's like, it can't fly. It's too heavy. It's useless. Like, this is how he feels. Like, ugh. I slept on my back in the shade of the meadowlark. Like a champion, get drunk to get laid. I take one more hit when you depart. Like, oh, he's also just so brutally honest. Like, even about things like that you might find like embarrassing. There's another lyric in here, pretty infamous one. It's in All of Me Wants All of You. Let me just play it for you. You check your text while I masturbated. To me, that feels like being in the bathroom, kind of like not feeling intimate with whoever you're with anymore, or like feeling that their touch isn't comforting or doing anything for you right now. And so you're literally just like, I'm imagining like him like in the bathroom just like jerking it because there's not kind of like love with this like partner or whoever right now. There's also a song that is straight up about suicide. Straight up about wanting to kill yourself, like, and it's a really hard listen. To me, there's nothing more sad on this album than No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross, just from the way he sings certain lyrics on this song. Like, let me show you one more thing about No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross. The way that his voice like quivers in this song is just oh my god, it's so sad. Here's the song that's straight up about suicide. The only thing that keeps me from driving this car, half-light jackknife into the canyon at night. Signs and wonders, Perseus aligned with the skull, slain Medusa, Pegasus a light from us all. Do I care if I survive this? Bury the dead where they're found. In a veil of great surprises, I wonder, did you love me at all? Like, are you fucking hearing this shit? Are you fucking hearing this? Like, if I knew about this album when it first came out, I would literally be like sending an emergency check to Sufjan Stevens' door. I'd be like, somebody please check on this man. Check on this man. Even now, oh my god, even now with Javelin, with the release of Javelin, I'm like, somebody check on this man. Oh, I literally forgot to mention this too. Right before the release of Javelin, Sufjan Stevens got this disease. I forget what it's called. Gary something. I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. He got this disease where like he literally had to relearn how to fucking walk. How fucking sad can this possibly get? You know, like he lost somebody who is so dear to him, a lover of 14 years, just loved him so much. He passed, and then he had to literally relearn how to walk again. It's just, it's too much for me to bear. And one of oh Jesus Christ, like one of the songs on Javelin is literally called "Will Anybody Ever Love Me?" I know I don't know him, and like I probably won't ever meet him. I hope I can, but I probably won't. And I know that just a fan, you know, like loving you is not the same as somebody loving you in real life. Like I know that firsthand. Like nothing compares to somebody that you actually know, like loving you. So when I say this, you know, it can't alleviate all the pain from all these like situations that he's been through. But I love him, like no matter what. You know, there's so many people who love him, and it's really sad to even hear him say that. And there's just so much more to explore with him. Like I said, he has so many different sounds, so many different just cool, niche, interesting things about him that I can't get it all out in just, you know, a couple minutes on a podcast. So, I don't know. Let me know if you enjoyed this. I would love to talk about more artists in this way because, like, there's so many musicians that I love. Obviously, like, Sufjan is just so close to my heart, though. Like, he's definitely my favorite musician right next to Elliott Smith. Like, the two of them are like this. And, like, I almost think of them as, like, yin and yang to me a bit because Elliott Smith is, when you listen to his music, it's like so sad, and it's like there's rarely any hope in it at all. Like it feels very hopeless. But with Sufjan, it's hopeless, but then there's always that glimmer of hope. Like there's always this perseverance, always this like inspirational element to it. So he's kind of like the light side of like the coin in that in this yin and yang situation. What else is there to say about him? He's fucking adorable. Fucking God's greatest twink, like so effing cute. And this man is like 50 years old, but he still like looks the same, and he's looked the same forever. But if you go back to like his, you know, like 2006, 2008, 2010, like him in those years, it's just like, this is like the most adorable fucking man I've ever seen. Like he's definitely gotta be a big crush for a lot of the gays. Like there's so many queer listeners of Sufjan, and it's just so great. It's so awesome. If I'm gonna recommend you like an order to listen to all of this, and I'll definitely make a playlist of Sufjan and like leave it in the description if anybody even cares. This is me if you even care.
Number 12, cock.
But album-wise, here's what I would do. I would go Carrie and Lowell, then I would go Michigan, then I would go Seven Swans, then Illinois, then Javelin. And there's also other, like, good albums, but those are just the best, to be honest. Those are just the best. There's a collab album he did called A Beginner's Mind, where him and, like, his little friend would, like, watch movies and then write songs about them the next day. It's a really cute album. I recommend that one too. It's just not my favorite, but he's great. Last thing I want to talk about, my other niche interest that is like going on right now, and I'm really fucking obsessed with this. Holy shit. I've been playing this Nintendo game. Well, first of all, I bought two Nintendos. I bought the Nintendo DS 3DS, and I bought the regular Nintendo. Because I need to feel like a little fucking baby. I'm regressing into a baby. I desperately need to feel a sense of childlike wonder. So desperately. And so I bought a bunch of games for it. I've been playing Tomodachi Life, and it is so fucking awesome. Like, let me explain Tomodachi Life. It's basically this game where you can create me's of literally anyone, including like one of yourself, or, you know, like, for example, I have a me of Sufjan Stevens in Tomodachi Life, and I have a me of Julian Casablancas and fucking Joe Biden, just to be funny and stupid. I call him like Sleepy Joe in there. I'm like, fuck him. He actually, I have Grimes in Tomodachi Life too, and he just like married Grimes. So here's the big deal about this game. That while you are not playing it, things are happening. Things are stirring. They are making friends and falling in love. Like when you come back into the game, they have like needs that you need to fulfill. You need to like feed them. Sometimes they want like new clothes. Sometimes they just want to play. Like what's so cute about it is they'll be like jumping up and down being like, can you play with me? Like, it's just like so adorable. It's kind of like having kids but without everything that's so disgusting. Sorry. Having kids is so disgusting to me. I hate it. Like, even just the thought of it or being pregnant, I just want to throw up. But no shade if you have kids. I think I just have like this crazy fucking phobia of it. It's like having kids, but only the fun stuff. And it's just so interactive and sweet. When one me likes another me, they'll ask you for advice on how to get the attention of the other me. Like, they'll ask you, can you help me ask her out? Or can you help me become friends with them? I really want to propose to this significant other. Can you help me figure out what to do or how to ask them? And oh my god, it's just so fun. Like, I can't say enough good things about this game. Like, sometimes I literally self-sabotage myself for a fucking week with this game. I wouldn't stop playing with it. I fell behind on my work. Like, I have 2 sponsorships for this month and I still haven't finished this stupid Haunting Adeline video. Yet, I was playing Tomodachi Life. Ugh. I'll talk about that more in the next episode, maybe. If you guys are interested in other, like, Nintendo games that I'm playing, or Nintendo Switch games that I'm playing. I'm playing this really cool game on Nintendo Switch right now, actually, called, what is it called? Fuck. Oh, it's called Venba. Oh my god, it's so wholesome and, like, real and sad. It's basically, like, this, like, immigrant couple from India, like, raising their son and, like, teaching him how to cook different things. And so it's a cooking game, but there's also, like, this enriching, engaging story at the core of it that is just so heartfelt and touching. Just Venba is a great game. I definitely recommend playing it. You should. It's $15 in the Nintendo eShop or whatever. Definitely worth it. I'm also learning a lot about Indian food. Like, every time I go to do a recipe in this game, I'm literally like, how the fuck do I do this? I'm so confused at first. So it's interesting to figure it out because, like, obviously if it was like food that I'm like very used to, like a lot of Indian food I haven't tried. Don't get me wrong though, I fucking love Indian food. I fucking love curry. I love it so much. I don't know, I just haven't like gone through, different foods, I haven't tried all the different cool things. And if it was like pancakes, I'd be like, okay, so this is step 1, obviously, but I just made putu and idlis. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong in the game. And I was like, what the fuck do I do? So that was great. And it's just so real. And so for songs that I want to recommend before I leave you two, I know we talked about Sufjan Stevens so much in this episode, but I'll try to give you a different artist as well. Honestly, I'm being so honest right now. I've been listening to Murder on the Dance Floor like at least 5 times a day. Like, that song is so catchy and it's just way too catchy. I've also been listening to a lot of Pink Panthers. I've been listening to The Drums a lot. That's another really great queer artist if you're unfamiliar with The Drums. So I'll recommend this obscure song that I found on Spotify with just this artist has the craziest name ever. Her name is Cum Girl 8, but the song is called Dead Pixels, and it's so good. It's so good. I haven't explored that much more of their music yet, but definitely check that song out. It's also a totally insane fucking album cover, so be prepared for that. Anyways, guys, I hope to do this more often now that I'm feeling like more self-aware about what even makes the show good, like I had so many great guests on this show, don't get me wrong, and I'm so grateful that I got to know a lot of people through that, but I felt like the show was hollow because it was focused so much on like, look at this awesome guest that I have, without having like this heart and like this substance to it, which I truly want everything that I do to have, like heart to it and have like kind of a linear moment of hope or, talk about art a lot and just have fun overall, I felt like I stopped having fun during those last episodes of the podcast, and I hope to come back. I hope you guys enjoy this, and yeah, bye-bye.